The rain hammered against my garage roof like 1,000 angry fists. 2 in the morning, and I'm elbow deep in a busted alternator when my phone buzzes. The screen lights up with Alexa's name, and something in my gut twists. "We need to talk." Her voice comes through cold, distant, not the woman I married 5 years ago, not the woman who used to bring me coffee while I worked late in this very garage. "It's 2 a.m., Lex. Can't this wait?" "No, it can't." A pause, a traffic noise in the background. Where the hell is she? "The wedding's off, Jake. I'm in love with someone else." I set down my wrench, wiping grease on my coveralls. "Come again?" "It's Damian, from the office. We've been together for months." Damian. The pretty boy wedding planner with the perfect hair and designer suits, the one who always looked at me like I was something stuck to his shoe. I laugh, but there's no humor in it. "I understand," I say, and hang up. But I don't understand. Not yet. Not until I start digging. My auto shop, Pierce Custom Motors, sits in the heart of Millfield's industrial district. Brick buildings and broken dreams. That's what this neighborhood's made of. I've been fixing cars here for 15 years, building something with my hands, while Alexa climbed the social ladder with her event planning business. The next morning, I'm under the hood of a '98 Camaro when my phone rings again. This time it's Mick, my best friend since high school and owner of Southside Boxing Gym. "Jake, you hear about Alexa?" "Hear what?" "She's all over town with some guy. Real pretty boy type. They were at Murphy's last night, making out like teenagers." Murphy's. Our place. The dive bar where Alexa and I had our first date. "Thanks for the heads up, Mick. You okay, brother?" "I'm perfect." Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. That evening, I tear apart our shared condo looking for evidence. Alexa moved out that morning while I was at work, took her clothes, her jewelry, even the coffee maker. But she forgot about the old iPhone hidden in her jewelry box, the one she thought I didn't know about. I plug it in, and my world explodes. Text after text, photo after photo. Hotel receipts dating back 6 months. They used my birthday, my actual birthday, to spend a weekend at the Riverside Inn, while I was working double shifts to pay for her business loan. The messages make my stomach churn, not just the intimate details, but the way they mock me. "Jake's so clueless," one text reads. "He actually thinks I'm working late." Another, "Can't wait to be rid of him, just need to figure out how to keep the condo." I screenshot everything, every message, every photo, every receipt. Then I sit in my empty living room and plan my first move. The Millfield Wedding Expo happens every spring at the convention center. Alexa's been planning it for months, her big chance to showcase her business to the city's elite. I know she'll be there with Damian, playing the happy couple while her marriage crumbles. I dress nice, clean jeans, button-down shirt, even shave. When I walk into the expo hall, the scent of flowers and expensive perfume hits me like a wall. Hundreds of people milling around booths displaying cakes, dresses, and dreams. I find Alexa's booth in the center of the hall. There she is, radiant in a white dress that costs more than most people's rent. And there's Damian, his arm around her waist, both of them laughing at something on his phone. I approach slowly, hands in my pockets. "Nice setup, Lex." She spins around, face going pale. "Jake, what are you doing here?" "Supporting my wife's business. Isn't that what husbands do?" Damian steps forward, all puffed up like a peacock. "I think you should leave. I think you should mind your own business." I turn back to Alexa. "But since we're talking about business, I had an interesting conversation with Damian's boss this morning." "What?" I pull out my phone, scroll through the screenshots. Turns out, Metropolitan Events has a strict policy about employees having affairs with married clients. Something about professional ethics. Damian's face goes white. "You didn't." "Oh, I did. Sent every text, every photo, every hotel receipt, even the ones where you two discuss stealing clients from your own company." Alexa grabs my arm. "Jake, please what? Please don't tell people the truth? Please don't show them who you really are?" Security starts moving toward us, but I'm already backing away. "Enjoy the expo, folks. Should be your last." I'm halfway to my truck when my phone rings. Mick again. "Jake, you need to get down to the gym." Now. "Why?" "Because Damian and some woman just showed up looking for you, and they don't look happy." I drive through the rain-slicked streets, windshield wipers fighting a losing battle. The city looks different now, like I'm seeing it through new eyes. Sharper. Hungrier. Southside Boxing Gym occupies the ground floor of an old warehouse. The windows are grimy, the signs half burned out, but it's been my second home for 20 years. Mix kept it running on determination and duct tape. I park behind the building and slip in through the back entrance. The familiar smell of sweat and leather greets me. Mix waiting by the heavy bags, his scarred face grim. "They're out front," he whispers. "Been there an hour." I peer through the blinds. Alexa's Mercedes sits under a streetlight, engine running. I can see two figures inside, but the windows are tinted. "What do they want?" "To talk," they said. But the woman, not your wife, someone else, she had a look about her, like she was ready for trouble. I watch the car for another minute, then step back. Let them wait. But as I turn away from the window, headlights sweep across the parking lot. The Mercedes is moving, pulling around to the back of the building. "Mick, is there another way out?" "Fire exit, but—" Car doors slam outside. Footsteps on gravel. A woman's voice, sharp and commanding. "We know you're in there, Jake. Time to face the music." Not Alexa's voice. Someone else. Someone I don't recognize. I grab Mick's arm. "Whatever happens, don't get involved. This is my fight." The front door rattles. Then silence. I wait, counting heartbeats. 1 minute, 2. Then my phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. "You think you won today? You have no idea what you've started. This is just the beginning." I look at Mick, and for the first time since this whole thing began, I smile. Really smile. "Good," I whisper. "I was just getting warmed up." The next morning, I wake up to find "loser" spray-painted across my shop's front window in bright red letters. Real mature. But it gets better. Someone also slashed 2 of my customers' tires and left a bag of garbage on my doorstep. I'm scrubbing paint when Mrs. Kendall, the neighborhood busybody, shuffles over from her apartment above the dry cleaner. "Terrible shame, Jake. Just terrible." She shakes her gray head, but her eyes are bright with gossip. "I saw who did it, you know." "Yeah?" "That pretty boy from the wedding place. Came by around 3 in the morning with a can of paint. Took pictures of himself doing it too. Can you believe that?" I stop scrubbing. "Pictures?" "On his phone, posing like some kind of artist. These young people and their social media." She leans closer. "I got it all on my security camera if you want to see." 20 minutes later, I'm watching grainy footage of Damian vandalizing my shop, grinning like an idiot while he records himself. The timestamp shows 3:17 a.m. "Can I get a copy of this?" "Already burned it to a disk for you, dear. That boy needs to learn some manners." I spend the morning cleaning up the mess and the afternoon plotting. By evening, I've created anonymous accounts on every social media platform Damian uses, his Instagram, his Facebook business page, his LinkedIn. All of them get the security footage, along with screenshots of his texts about stealing clients. But that's just the appetizer. I drive to the Riverside Inn, the same hotel where Alexa and Damian spent my birthday weekend. The desk clerk is a kid named Tommy who brings his Honda to my shop. "Hey, Mr. Pierce, what brings you here?" "Need a favor, Tommy. My wife's been staying here with someone, and I need to know who's been paying for the rooms." Tommy glances around nervously. "I'm not supposed to—" "The rooms were charged to a business credit card. Metropolitan Events. I just need to know if there were any other charges, so room service, bar tabs, anything." He hesitates, then pulls up the records. Looks like they ran up quite a bill. Champagne, room service, spa treatments. Almost $3,000 over 6 months. All on the business card? Every penny. Perfect. I make one phone call to Metropolitan Events corporate office. Anonymous tip about an employee using company funds for personal expenses. I don't even have to lie. Just share the facts and let them draw their own conclusions. Damian's fired by noon the next day, but Alexa's not done with me yet. I'm working on a transmission rebuild when she storms into my shop, designer heels clicking on the concrete floor. She's traded her usual elegant look for something harder. Black leather jacket, dark jeans, hair pulled back severely. "You destroyed his career," she says without preamble. "He destroyed his own career. I just provided the documentation." "This isn't over, Jake." "You're right. It's not?" She steps closer, and I catch a whiff of expensive perfume mixed with desperation. "My parents want to see you." "Your parents can go tomorrow night. Dinner, 7 o'clock. Not interested. It wasn't a request. Judith and Robert Hartwell live in Millfield Heights, where the houses have names instead of numbers, and the driveways are longer than most city blocks. Old money, the kind that builds hospitals and gets streets named after them. I show up in my work clothes, Clean, but definitely not country club material. The housekeeper, a stern woman with suspicious eyes, leads me through rooms that could house 3 families. Alexa's parents wait in the dining room, sitting at opposite ends of a table that could seat 20. Robert's in a navy suit despite being in his own home. Judith wears pearls and disappointment. Jacob, Robert says, not getting up. Sit. I remain standing. This won't take long? You're right about that. Judith's voice could freeze water. We know what you did to that poor boy. Poor boy? Your daughter's been having an affair for 6 months. That's between you and Alexa. But destroying someone's livelihood? That's vindictive. I laugh, surprising myself. Vindictive? Lady, I haven't even gotten started. Robert leans forward. We've supported your little garage for years. Recommended you to friends, sent business your way. That ends now. Good. I never wanted your charity anyway. It wasn't charity, Judith snaps. It was investment. In our daughter's future. But you've proven you're not worth investing in. I head for the door, then stop. Tell me something. Did you know about Damian before I found out? The silence stretches too long. You did. You knew she was cheating, and you were fine with it as long as she was trading up. I shake my head. At least now I know where she gets it from. I'm almost to my truck when Alexa catches up with me. Jake, wait. What now? They're cutting you off. All of it. The business referrals, the family connections, everything. You'll lose half your customers. So? So maybe we can work something out. A quiet divorce. You keep the shop, I keep the condo. We both move on. What's the catch? No more revenge. No more games. You leave Damian alone, and I'll make sure my parents don't destroy your business. I get in my truck, roll down the window. Counteroffer. Go to hell. As I drive away, I see her in the rearview mirror, standing in the circular driveway with her phone pressed to her ear, making calls, pulling strings. By the time I get home, 3 customers have already canceled their appointments. But I'm not worried. I've got bigger plans. The next morning, I drive to the courthouse and file for divorce. No lawyer, just me and the paperwork. While I'm there, I make copies of everything. The hotel receipts, the text messages, the business credit card statements. Then I visit every wedding venue in the city. The Riverside Ballroom, the Grand Hotel, the Country Club, even the little chapel on Elm Street. I don't say much, just show the managers the evidence of Alexa and Damian's affair. How they used client meetings as cover for their relationship. How they charged personal expenses to business accounts. Word spreads fast in the wedding industry. By afternoon, Alexa's lost 3 major contracts. But the real blow comes that evening. I'm at Murphy's, nursing a beer and watching the news, when Veronica Walsh slides onto the bar stool next to me. Alexa's business partner, a sharp-eyed woman in her late 30s with prematurely gray hair and a reputation for ruthlessness. Jake Pierce, she says, signaling the bartender. Whiskey, neat. Veronica, come to threaten me too? Actually, I came to thank you. I turned to study her face. Thank me? For exposing what Alexa really is. Do you know she's been skimming from our business accounts, using client deposits for personal expenses? I had my suspicions. More than suspicions. I've got proof. Bank records, forged receipts, the whole thing. She takes a sip of whiskey. I've been building a case for months, waiting for the right moment to move against her. And now? Now she's vulnerable, distracted, perfect timing. Veronica sets down her glass. I'm buying her out, for pennies on the dollar. What's this got to do with me? Nothing. I just thought you'd want to know that your ex-wife is about to lose everything she's worked for. She stands, drops a 20 on the bar. Sometimes the best revenge is just getting out of the way and letting people destroy themselves. After she leaves, I sit there thinking. Something doesn't feel right about that conversation. Too convenient. Too neat. I finish my beer and head home, but I can't shake the feeling that I'm missing something important. The feeling gets stronger when I find a note tucked under my windshield wiper. Stop digging, or you'll find more than you bargained for. Some secrets are better left buried. No signature, no return address, just a warning. I crumple up the note and toss it in the nearest trash can. Then I drive home, check all my locks, and start planning my next move, because whoever sent that note just made a big mistake. They showed me I'm on the right track, and I'm just getting started. 3 days later, my shop gets robbed, or at least that's what it's supposed to look like. They took some tools, scattered papers around, broke a window, but they missed the important stuff. The expensive diagnostic equipment, the cash register, my tool collection that's worth more than most cars. What they were really after was information. A file cabinet's rifled through, computer turned on, Desk drawers dumped. Someone was looking for something specific. The police officer who responds is Sergeant Ross, a tired-looking man in his 50s who's been working this neighborhood longer than I've been alive. "Any idea who might have done this?" he asks, scribbling in his notepad. "Could be random, could be personal." "Personal how?" I tell him about the divorce, the affair, the recent escalation. He nods like he's heard it all before. "Divorce brings out the worst in people," he says. "But this doesn't look like angry ex-wife territory. This is more professional." Professional. Someone who knew what they were looking for. They bypassed everything valuable and went straight for your records. "You got any business disputes? Money problems? Anything like that?" I shake my head, but his words stick with me after he leaves. Professional. Like someone hired to do this. I spend the afternoon installing new locks and a security system. While I work, I think about Veronica's convenient appearance at Murphy's, her offer to share information about Alexa, the timing of it all. By evening, I've made a decision. Time to do some digging of my own. The Millfield Public Library stays open until 9 on weekdays. I set up at a computer in the back corner and start researching Walsh Events Management, Veronica's company before she partnered with Alexa. What I find makes my stomach drop. Walsh Events went bankrupt 3 years ago amid allegations of fraud. Client deposits disappeared, vendors went unpaid, and Veronica herself faced criminal charges that were mysteriously dropped. The business folded, and she disappeared from public view for almost a year. Then she resurfaced as Alexa's partner, bringing capital and connections that helped grow Alexa's small wedding planning business into a major operation. But where did that capital come from? I dig deeper, following paper trails through business registrations and court filings. The picture that emerges isn't pretty. Veronica has a pattern. Find a successful small business owner, become their partner, then systematically loot the company while building a case for their removal. She's done it 3 times in 5 years. Always women, always in service industries, always ending the same way. My phone buzzes. Text from unknown number. "Hey, library closes in an hour. Might want to head home soon." I look around. The library's nearly empty. Just me, the librarian, and an old man reading newspapers. No one who should know I'm here. I save my research to a flash drive and pack up quickly. But instead of going home, I drive to Mick's gym. If someone's watching me, they'll expect me to follow my normal routine. Mick's working the heavy bag when I arrive, sweat dripping onto the worn canvas floor. "You look like hell," he says, not stopping his rhythm. "Feel worse. I think I'm in over my head." I tell him about the break-in, the research, the threatening text. He stops punching and grabs a towel. "Sounds like you rattled the wrong cage." "More like walked into someone else's trap." "What do you mean?" "I think this whole thing, Alexa's affair, Damian, even the divorce, it's all part of something bigger. Someone's been playing a long game, and I'm just now seeing the board." Mick sits on a bench, considering. "So, what's your next move?" "Find out who's really pulling the strings." "And then?" I think about that for a moment. Then I pull them back. The next morning, I call in sick to my own shop and drive to the downtown business district. Walsh & Associates Events has offices on the 15th floor of the Meridian building, all glass and steel and expensive views. I don't go up. Instead, I find a coffee shop across the street with a clear view of the building's entrance and settle in to watch. For 3 hours, nothing interesting happens. Business people coming and going, delivery trucks, the usual urban rhythm. Then, at 11:30, a familiar figure emerges from the building. Damian. Looking nervous, checking his phone constantly, glancing around like he expects trouble. He gets into a cab, and I follow at a distance. The cab winds through downtown traffic, then heads toward the River District. It stops at a warehouse complex I recognize. The old Riverside Industrial Park, mostly abandoned now, except for a few artists' studios and storage facilities. Damian pays the driver and walks toward a red brick building with boarded windows. He has a key. I park a block away and wait. 20 minutes later, he comes out carrying a cardboard box. He looks around nervously, then calls another cab. After he leaves, I walk around the building. Most of the windows are covered, but I find one where the plywood has warped enough to peek through. Inside, I see boxes, lots of them, filing cabinets, computer equipment. It looks like someone's been moving an entire office operation. My phone rings. Alexa. "We need to talk," she says. "Meet me at the pier in an hour." Why would I do that? Because if you don't, things are going to get much worse for you. The pier extends into the Millfield River like a concrete finger pointing toward the industrial district. It's mostly deserted this time of day, just joggers and dog walkers and the occasional fisherman hoping for something other than pollution. Alexa's waiting at the end, leaning against the railing and staring out at the water. She's dressed down today, jeans, sweater, sneakers, almost like the woman I married. "You've been busy?" she says without turning around. "So have you." "Jake, you need to stop. Whatever you think you're uncovering, whatever game you think you're playing, it's bigger than you understand." "Then explain it to me." She turns, and I see fear in her eyes. Real fear, not the manufactured drama of our recent confrontations. "I can't, but I can tell you that if you keep pushing, people are going to get hurt. People are already hurt. You made sure of that. This isn't about us anymore. This isn't about Damian or the affair or even the divorce." She steps closer. "There are people involved in this who don't care about your feelings or your pride or your need for revenge. They care about money and power and keeping their secrets buried." "What secrets?" "I can't—" "What secrets, Alexa?" She looks around nervously, then pulls out her phone, shows me a photo that makes my chest tighten. It's my brother Eli walking out of his apartment building. The timestamp shows this morning. "They know where he lives," she says quietly. "They know where he works, where his kids go to school. They know about everyone you care about." "Who's they?" "People you don't want to cross. People who make problems disappear." I study her face, looking for tells. You're scared. Terrified. "Of who?" "Veronica." Her expression confirms what I suspected. "Among others." "What did you get yourself into?" "I thought I was smart. I thought I could handle it." She laughs bitterly. "I was wrong about a lot of things." A jogger passes us, earbuds in, oblivious to our conversation. Normal life continuing while my world tilts off its axis. "The affair," I say. "It wasn't really about Damian, was it?" "At first it was. He was charming, attentive, everything you weren't." She winces at her own words. "But then Veronica found out. She had photos, recordings. She said she'd destroy both our careers unless..." "Unless what?" "Unless I helped her with something. A business deal. She needed access to client accounts, vendor relationships, things only I could provide. And Damian. He was already working for her. The affair, the hotel receipts, even using the business credit card, it was all designed to create evidence. Leverage. I feel like I'm standing on shifting sand. Leverage for what? To force me out of the company, to make me look unreliable, untrustworthy. She needed a reason to buy me out cheap, and she needed someone to blame when clients started asking questions about missing money." "How much money?" Alexa closes her eyes. "Almost $2 million. The number hangs in the air between us like a physical thing. "Client deposits?" "Deposits, payments to vendors, insurance settlements. She's been skimming for months, moving money through shell companies and fake contracts. When it all comes out, I'll be the one holding the bag." "Why are you telling me this now?" "Because she wants to meet with you, tonight. And I'm afraid of what happens if you don't show up." She hands me an address written on a scrap of paper. "The Warehouse District. The same area where I followed Damian." "Jake, please. Just walk away. Take whatever deal she offers and disappear. Start over somewhere else." I look at the address, then at my wife, soon-to-be ex-wife, the woman who betrayed me and is now trying to save me. "What about you?" "I made my choices. Now I have to live with them." "And Damian?" "Damian's already gone. Left town this morning with a suitcase full of cash. His part in this is over." I pocket the address. "What time?" 8 o'clock. "Jake, promise me you'll be careful." I promise. But as I walk back to my truck, I'm already planning how to break that promise. Because careful isn't going to get me out of this mess. And I'm tired of being the victim in someone else's game. I don't go straight to the warehouse. Instead, I drive to my shop and gather supplies, flashlight, crowbar, the digital camera I use for insurance claims. If this is going to be a setup, I want to be ready. At 7:30, I park 3 blocks away from the address Alexa gave me. The warehouse district is mostly empty at this hour, just a few security lights casting long shadows between the buildings. I approach on foot, staying in the shadows. The building is bigger than I expected, 3 stories of red brick and broken windows with a loading dock that hasn't seen a truck in years. A single light glows in a ground floor window. I circle the building once, looking for other entrances, other cars, any sign of how many people might be inside. Nothing obvious. But that doesn't mean I'm alone. At exactly 8 o'clock, I walk through the front door. The interior has been converted into a makeshift office. Folding tables, file boxes, computer equipment, powered by extension cords snaking across the floor. It looks temporary, like someone's planning to move again soon. Veronica sits behind one of the tables, typing on a laptop. She looks up when I enter, smiles like we're old friends. Jake, right on time. Where's Alexa? Safe, for now. She gestures to a folding chair across from her. Sit. We have business to discuss. I remain standing. What kind of business? The kind that keeps everyone healthy and happy. She closes the laptop, gives me her full attention. You've been asking questions, Jake. Poking around in places you don't belong, that makes me nervous. Good. It shouldn't. When I'm nervous, I make bad decisions. And bad decisions tend to hurt innocent people. She opens a manila folder, spreads photographs across the table. My brother Eli at his job site, his wife dropping the kids at school, Mick locking up the gym, my elderly neighbor Mrs. Kendall walking her dog. Insurance, she says, against poor judgment. I step closer, studying the photos. They're recent, some taken today. Professional quality, telephoto lenses. Someone's been watching everyone I care about. What do you want? Your silence, your cooperation, your complete and total withdrawal from anything involving me or my business interests. And in exchange, everyone stays safe. You get to rebuild your little garage, find a new wife, live whatever life you choose, as long as it doesn't intersect with mine. I pick up one of the photos, Eli's youngest daughter, maybe 6 years old, playing on a swing set. You're threatening children. I'm protecting my investment. There's a difference. What investment? She leans back in her chair, studying me. You really don't know, do you? You stumbled into this whole mess by accident, following your cheating wife around like some amateur detective. Enlighten me. Walsh & Associates Events isn't just a wedding planning business, Jake. It's a money laundering operation. We clean cash for people who prefer to stay anonymous. Drug dealers, bookmakers, tax evaders, anyone who needs dirty money to become clean. The pieces start falling into place. And Alexa was supposed to be a silent partner, provide legitimacy, access to high-end clients, a respectable front for our operations. But she got greedy, started asking questions, wanting a bigger cut. So you set her up. I gave her enough rope to hang herself. The affair with Damian, the business credit card charges, the missing client deposits, it all points back to her. When the authorities come looking, she's the one who'll take the fall. And me? You were never supposed to be part of this. Your divorce should have been quiet, simple. But you had to play the wronged husband, seeking your pathetic revenge. She shakes her head. Now you know too much. I set the photo back on the table. So what's the deal? Simple. You sign a statement saying you witnessed Alexa embezzling client funds. You testify that she admitted the affair was a cover for her criminal activity. You help me paint her as an unstable, greedy woman who destroyed your marriage and stole from her clients. And if I refuse? She nods toward the photographs. Then we find out how much you really love your family. I pretend to consider this, letting the silence stretch. Outside, I hear a car engine, footsteps on gravel. More players arriving for whatever this is. Where's Alexa now? Somewhere safe, as long as you cooperate. I want to see her. That's not part of the deal. Then there's no deal. Veronica sighs, picks up her phone. Bring her in. The door opens, and 2 men enter. One's pushing Alexa ahead of him. She's conscious but scared, hands zip-tied behind her back. The other man stays by the door, watching me. Jake, Alexa says. I'm sorry. I tried to warn you. Touching reunion, Veronica says. Now where were we? Oh yes, your signature on a legal document that will destroy your ex-wife's life and save everyone else's. She slides a folder across the table. Standard witness statement. Just sign at the bottom. I open the folder, scan the document. It's thorough. Detailed accusations of embezzlement, fraud, and criminal conspiracy. All pointing at Alexa. This is fiction. It's necessity. Sign it, Jake. I look at Alexa, trying to read her expression. She's scared, but there's something else. A slight nod toward the window behind Veronica. A warning. That's when I notice the reflection in the glass. Movement outside. Someone positioning themselves near the loading dock. I need a pen, I say. Veronica smiles, slides a ballpoint across the table. Smart choice. I pick up the pen, lean over the document. Then I drive the pen into the laptop's screen and flip the table. Chaos erupts. Veronica falls backward in her chair. The 2 men rush toward me, and Alexa somehow gets to her feet despite the zip ties. I grab the crowbar from my jacket and swing it at the nearest man's knees. He goes down hard, and I'm already moving toward the door when the lights go out. Emergency lighting kicks in, casting everything in a red glow. I hear Veronica shouting orders, footsteps running in multiple directions. Then the front door explodes inward. "Police! Everyone on the ground!" Sergeant Ross leads a team of officers into the warehouse, weapons drawn. The cavalry has arrived, but I'm not sure whose side they're on. "Jake Pierce," Ross calls out. "You okay?" Still breathing. "Good. Stay down until we sort this out." The next few minutes are controlled chaos. Officers securing the scene, reading rights, sorting the players. I find myself zip-tied and sitting against a wall next to Alexa. "How?" she whispers. "I called Ross this afternoon, told him about the money laundering, the threats, everything. He's been building a case against Veronica for months." "The photos of your family?" "Staged. Ross had his people watching everyone I care about, but not as targets, as protection." Veronica sits across the room, hands cuffed behind her back, glaring at me with pure hatred. The two men are getting medical attention, one for his knee, the other for a concussion he got when the door took him down. Ross approaches, cuts our zip ties with a pocket knife. "You two are free to go. We'll need statements tomorrow, but tonight you've done enough." "What about the money?" I ask. "We'll find it. Veronica's operation was bigger than just your wife's business, but it's over now." Outside, the warehouse district is alive with police cars and federal agents. Apparently, this was part of a larger investigation into organized crime money laundering. Alexa and I stand by my truck, not quite sure what to say to each other. "So," she finally says. "What now?" "Now we finish what we started. The divorce, I mean." "Right, the divorce." She looks tired, older somehow. "Jake, I want you to know—" "Don't. We both made mistakes. Let's just call it even." She nods, walks toward the police car that will take her home. Then she stops, turns back. "For what it's worth, I'm sorry. About all of it." "Me too." I watch her get in the police car, then drive home through empty streets. My condo feels different now. Not empty, but peaceful. Like a weight has been lifted. Tomorrow I'll deal with the paperwork, the statements, the legal aftermath. I'll rebuild my business, repair the relationships that can be repaired, and move forward. But tonight, I'm just going to sit in my garage and work on something with my hands. Something honest and straightforward and real. Something that makes sense in a world that suddenly seems full of possibilities again. 6 weeks later, I'm rebuilding a transmission when Mick walks into my shop with 2 cups of coffee and a newspaper. "Thought you'd want to see this," he says, spreading the paper on my workbench. The headline reads, "Local business owner sentenced in money laundering scheme." Below it, a photo of Veronica in handcuffs being led into federal court. 15 years, Mick says. No parole for the first 10. I wipe my hands on a rag, scan the article. The investigation uncovered a network that laundered over $20 million through fake wedding and event planning businesses across 3 states. Veronica was the mastermind, but she wasn't working alone. Says here they got 12 other people, I note, including some guy named Marcus Webb who ran a similar operation in Chicago. What about Alexa? Cooperating witness. Probation and community service. The divorce was finalized 3 weeks ago. Clean break, no alimony, no drama. Alexa kept the condo, I kept the shop. We haven't spoken since the courthouse. You okay with that? Mick asks. She was a victim too. Just took her longer to figure it out. Business has been good lately. Word got around about my role in exposing the money laundering operation, and apparently people like doing business with someone who stands up to criminals. I've hired 2 part-time mechanics, and I'm looking at expanding into the space next door. Mrs. Kendall shuffles in, interrupting my thoughts. She's been bringing me homemade cookies ever since the story hit the papers. Jake, dear, there's someone here to see you. A woman follows her in, mid-30s, professional but not flashy, carrying a briefcase and wearing a cautious smile. Mr. Pierce, I'm Jennifer Walsh. I was wondering if I could have a few minutes of your time. The name makes me tense. You related to Veronica? She's my sister. Was my sister. Jennifer sets down her briefcase. I'm here about the money. What money? The money she stole from her victims. The federal government recovered about $18 million in assets, and they're distributing it back to the people who were harmed. She opens her briefcase, pulls out a folder. Your ex-wife's business lost approximately $400,000 in client deposits and vendor payments. Since you were married at the time, you're entitled to half of any recovery. I stare at the check she's holding. $200,000. There's more, Jennifer continues. The government is also paying a reward for information that led to the conviction of the money laundering network. Your cooperation was instrumental in their case. She hands me a second check. This one's for $50,000. I don't want her money, I say. It's not her money anymore. It's justice. I think about that. Justice. Not revenge, not payback, but actual justice. The legal system working the way it's supposed to work. There's one more thing, Jennifer says. I'm starting a new business. Legitimate this time. Financial consulting for small business owners who need help with bookkeeping, tax planning, that sort of thing. I was wondering if you might be interested in being my first client. Why me? Because you're honest. And in my family's line of work, that's been a rare commodity. After she leaves, I sit in my office staring at the checks. $250,000. Enough to expand the business, buy new equipment, maybe even take a vacation. My phone rings. Eli. Hey, big brother. Saw the news about Veronica getting sentenced. How you feeling? Relieved, mostly. Good. Listen, Sarah and I were talking. We want to have you over for dinner this weekend. The kids keep asking about their Uncle Jake. I'd like that. And Jake? We're proud of you. What you did took guts. After he hangs up, I walk out to the shop floor. My 2 employees, Danny and Mike, are working on a vintage Mustang that came in yesterday. Good kids, hard workers, the kind of people who remind me why I love this business. The front door chimes, and I look up expecting another customer. Instead, it's Alexa. She looks different. Healthier somehow, like she's been sleeping better. Her hair's shorter, and she's dressed casually, jeans and a sweater instead of her usual business attire. Hi, Jake. Alexa, how are you? Getting by. I heard about the reward money. That's great. Yeah, it is. We stand there for a moment. 2 people who used to know each other intimately and now feel like strangers. I got a job, she says. Nothing glamorous. Administrative assistant at a nonprofit downtown, but it's honest work. Good for you. I also started therapy, trying to figure out how I got so lost, you know? I nod. We all get lost sometimes. Jake, I want you to know. What happened between us, the affair, the lies, none of that was your fault. I made those choices. I have to live with them. I know. Do you think... She hesitates. Do you think we could be friends someday? Not now, maybe not for a long time, but someday? I consider the question. The woman standing in front of me isn't the same person who called me at 2 a.m. to end our marriage. She's been through the fire, same as me, and maybe come out better for it. Maybe, I say. Someday? She smiles, the first genuine smile I've seen from her in years. That's enough for now. After she leaves, I go back to work on the transmission. It's a complex job, lots of small parts that have to fit together perfectly. One piece out of place, and the whole thing fails. But when it's done right, when every component is where it belongs, it's a beautiful thing. Smooth, powerful, built to last. Kind of like justice, kind of like starting over. Kind of like the life I'm building now, one honest day at a time. The sun's setting outside, painting the shop in golden light. Tomorrow I'll deposit those checks, call Jennifer Walsh about her consulting services, maybe even start planning that expansion. But tonight, I'm exactly where I want to be. In my shop, working with my hands, surrounded by the tools of my trade and the satisfaction of a job well done. It's not the life I planned 5 years ago when I married Alexa. It's not the life I thought I wanted. It's better.